Could somebody please make it make sense?
Hey everybody, welcome to A Pop of Culture, which is my video essay commentary channel where I speak on pop culture, social justice, and human experience from a black, bisexual millennial perspective. Everything, and I mean everything I say, should be taken with a grain of salt, as I'm simply a recent college grad with access to recording device and the internet. With that being said, my youth shouldn't be your sole reason to critique my views unless it's truly relevant. If you disagree with anything I say, let's have a civil conversation in the comment section below. Before we get into the topic of this video, which is Qaadir Howard, I want to advertise my cover channel. I have a cover channel, Pop of Culture Sings, where I sing throwback R&B, contemporary R&B, pop music, whatever I'm feeling, whatever you're feeling. So if you want to be down like Brandy, if you're down with the click, RP Ali, then definitely feel free to check that channel out. Today we're going to be having a deep dive on Qaadir Howard. Qaadir is a YouTuber I've watched for years, and in this deep dive, which is going to be part one in a series of videos, I'm going to be talking about Qaadir, the downfall of his brand, some of the issues I have with him and his legends, also known as lesions. Shout out to Grace, Suddenly Blue 2, and Julian for making videos calling Qaadir out. I know it takes a lot of courage to call out somebody that you admire or once admired, especially people like Qaadir who you know will hold it against you. There are some people out there who would appreciate you giving them constructive criticism and showing them love through wanting to make them better through giving them that feedback, but Qaadir is not one of those people.
And then all these critiques, bitch, you don't have nothing, you can't tell me nothing about my music, bitch.
Also, if you speak out against him, you know this is the end of things as they are. It's honestly the kiss of death when it comes to you ever interacting with him positively in the future. So I want to shout out all those people, and seeing their videos definitely gave me the courage to make my video. And before any of the legends come in the comment section talking about, you really took this time to make this video. Yes, I did, because I'm someone who creates content for YouTube. So I was already going to be making content, so why not speak on Qaadir as he's actively damaging his brand beyond repair. So this video is going to be the first video in a series of videos. I believe I'll probably make two that are going to be a deep dive into Qaadir, his downfall, his brand, and why I am no longer involving myself with Qaadir. So let's get into it. So who exactly is Qaadir Howard? Qaadir Howard is a Blaque YouTuber who has been on the YouTube platform since 2006. He at a time had over 130,000 YouTube subscribers. He is now at 123,000 YouTube subscribers. He is known for his comedic story times and commentary. If I'm looking down, it's because I have notes. I came prepared. He said in his video,
"Came all of this way to confront me. You didn't prepare your statement? Bitch, you's a dummy."
My statement is very prepared. So let's get into it. So he's most known for his comedic story times and commentary. Most notably, his "Did I Just Get Rejected from McDonald's" storytime video, which reached over 1.3 million views. He's also known for his Janet Jackson You Tried It tour video, where he calls out Janet Jackson for canceling one of her tours. And this video made multiple different blogs. It was very popular. And lastly, he's known for his interaction with Tracee Ellis Ross, who reacted to one of his videos, and he created a video reacting to that video. These are situations Qaadir is most known for, or situations where he had direct contact or connection to somebody with power and pull in the industry, or where his content reached a lot of people, where it got a conversation going. With the Janet video, where his content reached far beyond YouTube and could have garnered him a bigger audience if he took that momentum. So how did I find Qaadir? Why did I start watching him? I found Qaadir as a high school student. I was looking to find a job, make some money during the summer. So I was looking up on YouTube different things like, what's it like working in retail? What's it like working in fast food? Because I wanted to know what it was like before I committed to working a job for the summer. And I came across Qaadir's video, Why I Hate Working in Retail. And I found this video so funny. It was just so hilarious. And after I watched that video, I started watching other videos by him. I knew I loved what this person's giving. I was like, whoever this is, they are so funny. They are so entertaining. I have to keep watching them. And so I kept watching his videos. I remember watching videos like his PetSmart rant, his Fired from PetSmart rant, I Just Went to Jail, his Dollar Tree haul. I was enthralled by his personality. I just kept watching all of his videos. I remember thinking he was a breath of fresh air in the YouTube space. I noted that he was a feminine Black gay man being himself unapologetically. And this was in 2013, 2014. So this was when there was a lot of conversation around no fats, no femmes, and there was a lot of shaming of feminine Black queer men. And at this time, I feel there were a lot of Black queer men, including Black queer public figures, who would play down their femininity to make themselves more palatable. And one of the things I loved about Qaadir was he wasn't someone who was going to let judgment of his femininity stop him from being himself. And it was something that was very powerful for me as someone who's Black and LGBT to see. It was really cool to see that there was somebody who was going to be themselves regardless. And I also noted that he was someone who didn't let judgment for being feminine make him bitter, because there are a lot of Black queer men who are feminine who will internalize the negative things that were said to them as children and even as adults for being Black and feminine, and they'll have this hard shell about them where they can't have fun, they can't enjoy things because they're always thinking about the fact that they were treated negatively. And I love the fact that Qaadir didn't seem to internalize that negative treatment. He's still out here laughing, having a good time doing him. So that really pulled me to his content. I said, as a Black queer man, I identified with him and found a lot of his content affirming, because rather than buckle under homophobia, he was going to be himself regardless. Afro, relaxed hair, chunky earrings, women's clothing, whatever. One of my favorite videos from Qaadir is The Walmart Terrorist. If you haven't seen The Walmart Terrorist, it's a video where Qaadir is recounting a story where him and his mother were walking through Walmart, just getting groceries, doing what people do in Walmart. And there were these people who were walking around, following him, giving him looks, talking about him, doing all of this. He did nothing. He just existed as a feminine gay man walking through the store with his mother. And these people found issue with him. They were following him. They were making his shopping experience uncomfortable. And he eventually turns around to the people and does this very dramatic rendition of Somewhere Over the Rainbow and just asks them, why can't I be me? Why can't I just exist as the person I am? Why do you have to make things so difficult for me? And I remember watching this video and just being so moved, because I feel so many times Black queer men, especially Black feminine queer men, are expected to just buckle under the pressure of homophobia where, okay, I'm just not going to wear what I want to wear anymore. I'm just going to tone it down so that I can survive and so things won't be uncomfortable for me. And I loved seeing Qaadir say, no, I'm going to call you out. I'm going to say what I need to say, and I'm going to let you have it. And I'm not just going to buckle under your pressure. And I found that to be something that was so inspiring. So in summary, I started watching Qaadir because I was a young person who was looking for a job and looked up videos on what it was like working in retail. And I stumbled across his retail video. Then seeing that he was a Black queer man who was confident in himself, even though a lot of the culture shames people for being feminine, especially within Black LGBT culture, there's a shaming of femininity. I identified with him because he was somebody who was feminine, but who wasn't going to change himself to fit other people's expectation of who he should be. So now that we've spoken on how I found Qaadir and why I started watching him, now let's get into why I stopped watching him and why I stopped liking him. The first reason why I stopped watching Qaadir was his my way or the highway type of attitude. Qaadir has a severe inability to see other people's views. The first example I saw of this was during the time when there was the transracial versus transgender debate. This was around the time that Rachel Dolezal had been found out to be someone who was a white woman parading as a Black woman, and also around the time that Caitlyn Jenner had came out as transgender. And during this time, there was a lot of conversation about why are we allowing Caitlyn Jenner to be transgender and acknowledging her as a woman, but why are we not allowing Rachel to be a Black woman?
Today, the footage came out of Miss Caitlyn killing, essentially, she basically killed this bitch. And whatever she was doing, she wasn't motherfucking paying attention to the road. I'm like, y'all really gonna still say this bitch is the hero sent up on Vanity Fair when this bitch lost her life because she wasn't paying attention? It's funny to me how everybody was defending Miss Caitlyn and trying to downplay Miss Rachel. And as I said in the video, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, but what I'm saying is, how can you praise and uplift one and then condemn the other when at its core, it's the exact same thing? Now you have people talking about, oh, well, it's genetic. Race is genetic, but sex is a social construct. Last time I checked, having a penis or vagina is not an opinion. Now you don't have to like that, or you can later want to change it, but that does not change the fact that that's what the fuck it is. How is that a social construct? You know what I'm saying? It's like, it is what it is, and it kills me that we are living in such a politically correct society where if you just vocalize the truth, people want to crucify you. You cannot crucify me for speaking facts and being realistic. I just don't understand the logic, how you gonna try to make it seem like one person is a hero and the other person is a demon for doing the same thing, essentially. People saying, well, no, it's totally different. How is it different? Just because I went and got a nose job and you got a boob job, at the end of the day, it's all plastic surgery. So yeah, you got something different than what I got, but we both went in to change something that we didn't like. So what's the difference? Now, since you were so judgmental of Miss Rachel, are you still supporting her, or are you gonna also condemn her too? Because last time I checked, this bitch, she killed someone. And I totally forgot about that, but that really is kudos to her PR people, because, honey, they totally made sure, they made that shit disappear, honey, because I totally forgot about that car accident. I sure did. Most certainly did. But now that footage is out, it's like, you can't deny it, bitch. You rammed this bitch, talking about, oh, she was on the run. Girl, like she's Jay-Z and Beyonce, but she's on the run. You know what I'm saying? You were not on the run. You weren't paying attention is what it was. It was manslaughter, sweetie. You killed this bitch. Okay, it was vehicular manslaughter. Okay, but this bitch all up on Miss Vanity Fair talking about call me Caitlyn. But of course now she is a hero. She's getting the Arthur Ashe Award and all these different things. And it's like, it's just crazy to me how people, just because she she is a transgender, all of a sudden now it's like she's on a whole different plane where you can't question her, you can't have no questions, you can't say nothing against her, or you are transphobic. It's like, I'm not afraid of this bitch, I just don't like the fact that people are making it to where she's untouchable. What it boils down to is two people who identify as something that they weren't born into. Because at the end of the day, it's exactly the same. I don't care what no one say about, no, it's absolutely totally different. It's totally different. That's a strong word. It's totally different. And I think the reason why people are trying to make it different is because they don't want to acknowledge that, bitch, if she looks crazy and foolish for saying she's a white woman that's black, then how do I look? Saying that I'm a woman when I was born a man. So you trying to separate it so that you don't feel foolish with her. But at the end of the day, if you think she's foolish, then you crazy too. You foolish and crazy. You just right along with her, dumbass, at the peanut gallery. Right along with this bitch. Do you. I want you to be happy. You deserve to be happy. And whatever that means to you, you do what you gotta do. But I'm simply saying you cannot condemn somebody else for doing the same thing just because it's not your idea of what happiness should be, or just because you don't understand it. Because a lot of people don't understand people who are transgender. But just because they don't understand it, don't make it right, don't make it wrong. Okay, it is what it is. You don't have to understand it. But stop trying to make it seem like, for some reason, your plight is more legitimate than somebody that was born white and wants to be black. But that can't happen because no, it's all genetics. But okay, girl, you have a penis. I don't understand how you in your mind are trying to rationalize how that makes more sense. Like, no, even though I was born with the penis, it's different because it's in my brain, it's in my mind. My brain is a female brain. Like, okay, you can sell it that way. I ain't buying it. Because if that's the case, that, oh, well, I see things the way women see things. Someone can come up to me and say, well, you're a gay man. You like what women typically like, so you must be a female. Like, you must be in your brain a woman. And stop trying to make it like trying to dismiss her. Talking about, oh, well, she could just pop off her wig and, wash off that tan. Like, it's a side thing for her. This bitch has been living as a black woman for 10 years. So at this point, it's not a hobby. And up until recently, nobody was questioning this bitch, and rightfully so, because, like I said, there's a lot of people who look like her who are black people.
One of the things a lot of people commented to Qaadir was, hey, the way that we view gender in society is not the same way that we view race. So those are not necessarily a one-to-one fair comparison. Now, I will say Qaadir is entitled to his opinion. He can have an opinion that Rachel can be black if Caitlyn can be transgender. But the thing that whole situation taught me was Qaadir was very unwilling to listen to other people's perspectives. If you tried to reason with him and say, hey, let's talk about this. Rachel and Caitlyn are different, like race and gender are different. If you try to reason with Qaadir and explain to him, hey, these situations are different, they're not a one-to-one comparison, he would not even entertain your viewpoint. That's the problem with Qaadir. He will never take your viewpoint into consideration. It's always his way or the highway, and if you don't like it, you can unsubscribe. And this is something I also saw with his commentary on the 2016 election. He was someone who was initially rooting for Bernie Sanders, but once Hillary Clinton got the nomination, he decided to start backing Jill Stein, who was a third-party candidate.
But the point why I want to make this video is because Jill Stein, who I actually will be voting for, and the girls love to, and I'm going to get to it, girl, wait on it. Jill Stein is actually working for the people, and she's actually telling the girls that, listen, the same way how they bailed out Wall Street, girl, I plan on bailing out all of the girls with these student loan debts. Now, some people might say, girl, pie in the sky, never gonna happen, this and the fourth. Well, if it doesn't happen, it's gonna be because of bitches like you.
If you're not aware of how the Electoral College works, within the United States, every state has a certain amount of electoral votes, and for somebody to win, they have to win the majority of the Electoral College votes. And because of this, it's extremely unlikely for a third-party candidate to win because it's unlikely for a third-party candidate to get the majority. Now, there are other reasons why people vote third-party. There are other benefits for voting third-party. But with Qaadir, he was specifically telling people you need to vote for Jill Stein or you're a hypocrite. If you vote for Hillary Clinton, you're a part of the problem.
How can you sit here and be like, well, it's the lesser of two evils? So, okay, but what you're saying is you recognize and understand that she's corrupt. You know that she's a liar. You know that this bitch is not kosher. But what you're saying is that even though you know she's not halal, you're perfectly fine with signing on the dotted line because she's better than Trump. As I stated before, girl, whether it's this plantation or that plantation, on both, you're still a slave, girl.
And for me, I hated this type of rhetoric because it's not that simple. Just like with Rachel and Caitlyn, it wasn't that simple. But because it's Qaadir and Qaadir doesn't listen to other people's opinions, it's his way or the highway. In his mind, Hillary and Trump, though they're completely different people with different backgrounds, they're both equally bad. And voting for either of them is a bad decision to make.
To all the people who keep saying, girl, we have to defeat Trump, You have to understand that Trump is manufactured. As I stated earlier, this is community theater, girl. None of this shit is real. If you really were that afraid of Trump, girl, why did you give her $2 billion plus a free press? Why? Maybe had you treated Trump the way you treated Bernie, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now. But see, it's in their best interest to create a boogeyman, to give you a reason to stay on this plantation. Because now you feel comfortable with massa. Because massa is going to make sure that you have a warm meal, while Trump is going to whip you into oblivion, girl. She's going to whip you, she's going to beat you, she's going to rape you. And who knows what else she's going to do. You don't have to sit here and try to rectify and rationalize why this evil is better than that evil, because evil is evil.
I have no issue with Qaadir voting for Jill Stein or wanting Jill Stein to win. But my issue with Qaadir when it came to his commentary on the election was the fact that he tried to make the claim, if you're voting for Hillary Clinton, you're a part of the problem. Here's the issue. In no world was Jill Stein ever going to win as the third party candidate. And with him having an audience of people who are mainly Black people, Black women, or Black LGBT men, and other people who are marginalized in some type of way, it really annoyed me to see him saying that a vote for Hillary and a vote for Trump were both the exact same thing and that we should just vote for Jill Stein. Because if you look at it logically, if you know most of your audience, including you, are marginalized, even if you are not a fan of Hillary Clinton, the majority of his audience would benefit more from voting for Hillary than voting for Donald Trump. But he didn't care about that because in Qaadir's mind, which never changes, always right in his mind, and is never wrong, voting for Hillary is just as bad as voting for Trump. They're both two evils, period.
And the media will sit here and now what they're doing with Trump is like, we know that he's a piece of shit. We get it. We get it. But when are you going to address that Hillary is also a piece of shit? You're not going to. It's all a game. This whole thing what they did in terms of giving him all this press, it's all a game. They did that because they know that Hillary Clinton is unlikable. So we had to create this person that was hated so that a person that was unliked could then become liked. It's a game. And you got to wake up.
One of the other things I noticed during this era was this inability to support his arguments with facts, reasoning, examples, statistics, quotes, analysis, and things of that sort. He was somebody who would get very emotional about things, but he was not always able to support his ideas. Just like with the Caitlyn Jenner versus Rachel Dolezal situation, he got very passionate and angry, but he didn't ever support his argument with facts, reasons, examples, statistics, quotes, analysis. He was somebody who would just say, well, oh, if Caitlyn can do this, then why can't Rachel do this? I don't care if you don't agree with me. I don't care if you agree with me. Unsubscribe. He was never able to support his arguments. Just like that with his election arguments.
Democrats get away with a lot more than Republicans do, even though a lot of the shit that they do are the same shit Republicans do.
He was never able to support them. He would talk about Hillary and say, oh, Hillary and those emails. But he would never specifically say, these are reasons why I don't support Hillary Clinton. These are reasons why the emails are a situation where I don't want to vote for her. A lot of it was just talk, and a lot of it was just a lot of they, the system, they don't want us to win, and all of us Black people are so stupid, and all of us other people are so stupid, and we're just sheep.
As I said before to my Black brothers and sisters, Miss Thing, easily impressed. My white brothers and sisters, Miss Thing, you're following, girl, without using your brain. As I stated, there's nothing wrong with being a follower. But when you follow people, okay, blindly, without actually vetting them and understanding exactly where they're leading you to, girl, the promised land, what they're telling you they're going to take you to, girl, then you're not a follower. You're just stupid.
It was a lot of just attacking his audience for not agreeing with him.
See, this is the reason why the girls don't respect the Black girls. They don't respect the gay girls. They don't respect the girls. Because we're dumb. We're stupid.
Rather than giving specific, well thought out arguments. Because if you give me an argument for why you're not going to vote for Hillary Clinton that's based in evidence, if you give me an argument on why Rachel Dolezal and Caitlyn Jenner are one and the same, fine. You've given me your argument and I'll at least consider your argument. With Qaadir, a lot of it is, I believe what I believe, and if you don't believe it, you can unsubscribe, and you're stupid and you're dumb.
She's in there. And if you were that pressed on making sure she didn't get in there, what you should have fucking did was stood up with all the girls and made it to where the DNC couldn't just put Hillary in when she did not earn it. And even to this day, the girls will battle you down about how she did get it. Girl, okay, that's fine, because you're just a dumbass bitch, and that's why she didn't get it anyhow.
And I hate that, because that's not how you connect with an audience. That's not how you speak critically on topics. Even with his hatred of Hillary Clinton, he talked a lot about how the DNC was so corrupt, but he wouldn't give specific examples of the DNC being corrupt. It would just be, the DNC are so corrupt, and if you can't see it, you're stupid, you need to unsubscribe. And that's something that really bothered me, because even me talking about facts, reasons, examples, statistics, quotes, analysis, when I speak about that, that's an acronym I learned in 6th freaking grade, where we were taught, If you're going to make an argument, you need to support your argument with supporting arguments. Even when we would form paragraphs in our 5-paragraph essays, you would have your main idea and you would have supporting ideas. And with Qaadir, everything devolved into, if you don't believe me, you're so stupid and you're dumb and you just need to unsubscribe. And that's something that he still says to this day if you disagree with him on anything.
Bye. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. Bye. Unsubscribe. Okay, that's fine. Okay. That's supposed to make me change my opinion because you unsubscribe because you don't like what I'm saying? And bitch, nobody said anything was fake. What I said was they wanted this shit to outbreak. Can you hear? Or are you just dumb? What I'm saying is they planned this and all the shit was happening. So your aunt was unfortunately collateral damage, bitch. So you're mad at the wrong girl. Once again, a moron. Girl, bye. I'm glad you're unsubscribing because you're not on my level anyway, bitch. If you can't understand the words that are coming out of my mouth, Chris Tucker, understand what I'm speaking.
I noticed the pattern with him and other Black commentary channels that I stopped watching. A lot of them would blame the individual. The reason why Black people are struggling or Black LGBT people are having any issues is their own individual fault.
As I said before to my Black brothers and sisters, Miss Thing, easily impressed. My white brothers and sisters, Miss Thing, you're following, girl, without using your brain.
Or it's a resort to conspiracy.
See, it's in their best interest to create a boogeyman to give you a reason to stay on this plantation.
Those were the two things I would see with Qaadir when he would get frustrated. For example, Grace Aditoro in her video, she shows this clip where he talks about why he hates Black people and why Black people are so stupid.
That's what kills me with Black people. They're stupid, they're fake, they don't get it.
He can't understand the fact that there are systems in place that are oftentimes the cause of different issues within the community. It's us being stupid because we don't agree with him. Or it's resorting to conspiracy theories where, oh, the reason why things are the way they are isn't this complex system of things that work in tandem with one another. It's this conspiracy theory where political figures are pedos who are devil worshippers who hate everything.
Yeah, Obama was a motherfucking mess. And I voted for this nigga, so trust me. There's no shame in it. You know, a lot of us voted for her, and that's that. You know, a lot of us voted for her, including me. I voted for her both times. So I'm not exempt because I voted for this bitch. But when you know better, you do better, bitch. Obama, him being Black don't make him, don't mean the things he did. And there's a clip of him, and they pulled that clip because I'm like, damn, I should have pulled it when I first saw it. There's a clip of this nigga talking about pedophilia. And the way that he's talking about it shows me it's true you are a pedophile. Because you're talking about it like you support it. And it would explain the reason why they never really talk a lot about human trafficking or pedophilia or that kind of thing, because they are heavily involved. But it's not just him. It's a bunch of these niggas. And I saw something on HBO. I cannot think of what it was called. But I did a whole video, but I didn't post it because I got too emotional. I started screaming and crying and just because I wanted to rip this nigga's throat out. Because I know a devil when I see a devil. And that he would sit up on that screen and act like they're not molesting children and that they are not doing all the things that the people who have done the research. It's true. But now they make us look crazy like it's a conspiracy theory. It is true. These Comet Pizza people are real. And when you look at the artwork that they put up there, when you look at all the information and connect all the dots, but they have the nerve to put these niggas on TV and use HBO to try to justify them and validate them. So that's when I started looking at HBO like, see, I knew. It's no place is safe. Everybody is involved. All of the media, every channel is involved. Everybody's involved. And when I saw that, I couldn't even finish it. I was so heated. I felt like, maybe this will prove me wrong and they'll be fair and they'll try to tell the truth and bring out all the evidence. But it was the total opposite. It was a fluff piece where basically it's softball questions and they get to basically make themselves like, oh, we're the victims of people saying we're.
Which is funny because he wants to enter the entertainment industry, but then he also will talk about how these people are demon worshippers who love Satan and who are pedos and things of that sort. Make it make sense. So over time, for me, as I continue to see him have this very horrid approach to arguments where he would never support what he was saying, he would just get angry and tell you to unsubscribe if you didn't agree with him, I naturally lost interest in him and his content. And as they say, nature abhors a vacuum, so I found other content creators who actually could support their arguments with research and who wouldn't just attack people for not agreeing with them. So as I got older and I went through high school and college, I found content creators like 𝘎𝑪𝒐𝒗𝒆𝒓 and the Grapevine. And one thing I noticed about the Grapevine was the fact that a lot of them were college graduates. They were people who were driven and ambitious. They were professionals. They're people who were actually willing to learn and civilly disagree. And that was something I never saw in Qaadir's content. If you didn't agree with him, it was his way or the highway. Unsubscribe, don't follow me anymore if you don't agree with me. There was no willingness to have a conversation. But on the Grapevine, people engaged willingly in these conversations and they were willing to learn and civilly disagree. And I actually learned things from this content. I learned things from this platform. One of the things I struggled with Qaadir was, even though his content was affirming, and I love videos like the Walmart terrorist, at some point I stopped learning from his videos. I loved the fact that he was going to call out homophobia, but at the same time, I wasn't learning anything new. Within the Grapevine, I was learning different people's perspectives, different people's worldview. In Qaadir's content, all I saw was him getting angry at people not accepting his view, even though his view wasn't informed, because his content was mainly just story times about his experience as a feminine Black gay man. But when it came to his social commentary, he wasn't actively researching information. I am somebody who is very passionate about social justice and advocacy, not only for people with my identities and experiences, but for everybody. And one of the things I realized with him was, while I did find value at a time in seeing him existing as a Black feminine queer man, despite the world that we live in, I realized there were so many other content creators who are Black or who are Black and LGBT who actually had critical thinking skills, who actually cared about stuff beyond themselves. Because that's another thing I realized about Qaadir when I looked through his content. Qaadir is very self-serving, so he'll talk for hours on end about the struggles he has personally faced as a Black feminine gay man, but you'll never see him really advocating for other groups of people.
Fag, sissy, faggot, fag hag. Yeah, them bitches in your high school had you right. They don't be right all the time, but they was right when they called your ass out and crammed you into a fucking locker, bitch, and stuck your motherfucking head into a motherfucking toilet. And I wish they would have accidentally drowned your faggot ass, bitch.
Which is why, if you don't agree with him, you can unsubscribe and F you and all of this. Because he only cares about him and his own personal gain. That's why he cares so much about donations. With Qaadir's content, I found it affirming seeing this Black queer man who was going through all these different things, but who was still rising above and still showing up. But the thing I learned was, when 𝘎𝑪𝒐𝒗𝒆𝒓 talked about something on her channel, she was actually discussing it. She was using articles, she was using different resources. It wasn't just what 𝘎𝑪𝒏 thought from the beginning. It was 𝘎𝑪𝒏 and the article she pulled together and her thoughts on the article she pulled together. It wasn't just what 𝘎𝑪𝒏 thought from jump. While the Grapevine and 𝘎𝑪𝒏 are not without issues, these platforms taught me you can have critical thinking within commentary. You can be open to disagreement within commentary. There are content creators out there who will not shame you for disagreeing with them. There are content creators out there who will not attack you for disagreeing with them. And when I learned that, and when I saw content creators who could actually support their arguments with facts, reasons, examples, statistics, quotes, analysis, I realized that outside of some affirmation, because he's a Black queer man who is confident in himself, who is existing in his truth, other than that, there wasn't much else I could gain from him from a critical thinking standpoint, because every argument he made devolved into, if you don't like it, then unsubscribe, or this is all a conspiracy theory that is them against us. To summarize all of that, the reason why I stopped watching Qaadir was the fact that it was always his way or the highway. He never considered other people's viewpoints, even though his viewpoints were very limited. And he often didn't educate himself on the topics he was discussing, so he came out very ignorant. And he came out even more ignorant when he would attack people when they would kindly disagree with him or kindly try to correct him if he got something wrong. And I realized there were way better content creators out there who were more receptive to feedback and who would actually support their arguments with things other than Black people stupid, Black LGBT people stupid, or resorting to conspiracy theories. The next reason why I unsubscribed from Qaadir Howard was his lack of consistency, the fact that he was always behind the times. One of the things I noticed as I became more and more of a fan of YouTube and started watching more and more content was the fact that other people were evolving while he was devolving. The Grapevine started at a smaller set, but as they kept getting more and more relevant, as they kept growing their audience, they kept upgrading their set, their camera quality increased. When they started, they were at one small table, but they grew and they actually invested back into their business. With Qaadir, He went from structured short videos that were topics that the audience was interested in to live streams that were long and erratic that had no end. And whenever his audience would give him that feedback that they wanted other content back, he would not be receptive to that feedback.
Oh, Qaadir, make me sick with that stupid shit. Oh, Qaadir. But now you want to sit up here and demand a schedule? You get what the fuck I serve you. Oh, just start over, Qaadir. Just start over. Oh, just start over. Well, just start on TikTok. Watch start on Clubhouse. Watch start on Bigger.
He went from good camera quality to bad camera quality. And one of my things is this. You, as a content creator, you work with what you have. I'm recording this on a phone. I'm saving up for a camera until I get to the point where I can purchase that camera. I'm using this phone. I'm using good lighting. I'm using a microphone. I'm doing what I can with what I've got. But the issue with Qaadir is he had the access to better, but he started choosing not to use it. And for me, my thing is this. I'm investing time in your content. And at a time I was even investing money into your Patreon. And to see you actively choosing not to come on camera correct, why am I going to keep watching your content? There's other people out there who are grinding, even people with less. Like Qaadir had over 130,000 followers for a long time, but he acted like he didn't care about that. He acted like he didn't care about him and his brand. And the issue I had was people like Adrian. Adrian still has less followers than Qaadir, but he was always showing up on camera with the energy, with the education, with the topics ready. And the thing that I realized for me was I was no longer willing to invest time in Qaadir when I thought he wasn't putting all the resources he already had available to him to work. When I saw that he was just going to show up on live stream and smoke and not even care about anything, not care about what his audience wanted. When Qaadir stopped caring about his audience, I stopped caring about his content. He was no longer making SEO friendly titles. His titles were nonsensical. He had no thumbnails or low quality thumbnails. He had bad camera quality. He had bad lighting. While other content creators I watched with less of a following continued to invest in their craft, meaning they went from iPhone to DSLR or DSLR with a kit lens to DSLR with a Sigma lens, Qaadir devolved, where he went from having short videos that were on a topic with good lighting, with a good thumbnail, with a good title, to hour-long live streams with no point and no end. As I mentioned earlier, I saw there were people with less followers than Qaadir who had better setups than him as he started to put less and less effort into his content. I had to realize if he doesn't care, I can't care. I can't care more than he cares about his own content. I realized I am not okay with that. I'm not okay with a content creator wanting the world from us while he's not even willing to give us the quality that he already gave. My opinion is this: you never should let your quality drop from what it already is. And the issue with Qaadir was he had already set a standard. When I found him in 2013, he had good lighting, he had topical videos that had a point, that were entertaining, that his audience wanted. But in 2017, he started just doing those live streams with no rhyme or reason to them. Because Qaadir would always talk about how YouTube had him shadow banned, YouTube had him blocked, and how YouTube didn't want him to be successful.
I'm telling you now, I'm being fucking disrespected and shat on by fucking YouTube. I don't need no goddamn approval. I know what the fuck is happening to me and to my channel.
But he wasn't putting out quality content that people wanted to see. And he was ignoring audience feedback. He was devolving while always expecting more. And he uses a narrative that YouTube was shadow banning him. YouTube had this vendetta against him. And for me, this was a continuation of that lack of critical thinking. And even people in his respective niche, other Black gay YouTube commentators like Justin J, 18 Expression, Funky Dineva, they were continuing to grow. They were actually putting out timely reviews. They were putting out topical videos on things that people wanted to talk about. So it was very frustrating to watch Qaadir actively not put in the effort but want to blame YouTube and say that YouTube was shadow banning him. This was the nail in the coffin when it came to me and his content, because he was wanting to make himself the victim while taking no accountability. The problem with his content was he was always behind the time. As I mentioned earlier, like he would review things like Basketball Wives or Real Housewives of Atlanta, but he wouldn't use SEO friendly titles. He wouldn't be consistent with the reviews. He may come out with a review 2 weeks later and it wouldn't even have the title on the video. He was not actively doing the work to keep his audience while complaining about the fact that he was being shadow banned. But here's my issue. 130,000 people chose to watch you because of the content you were making. So when you stop making that content, when you stop putting that effort in, you're going to get a drop in engagement. You need to stop blaming that on shadow banning and YouTube having it out on you. That's all for now. Thanks for watching the video. Comment down any thoughts you have below. I'm sure you have a lot to say, because I had a lot to say. I'm considering doing a part 2. So let me know if there's any other topics you'd like me to touch on. I also want to open things up, so if any other people would like to speak up and they want to send me any notes or letters or things they'd like to say to Qaadir or his team, feel free to do so. You could also send me video and audio. I will keep your identity anonymous unless you ask me not to. I know some people may feel intimidated by him or scared to speak out against him, so if you want to have me say your piece, just reach out to me. The socials in the email are in the description and also in the About Me section of the YouTube channel. And Qaadir, if you've made it this far, if you're actually listening to this is all in love, believe it or not. And as you would say, that's all for now. 𝑭𝒂𝒂𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏𝒏 there is. Cue the outro. Like this video if you like this video. If you made it to this point in the video, comment a thumbs up emoji below or still here if you are still here. Subscribe if you want to see more, and make sure to hit that bell so you're the first to know when I upload new content. I upload new content every week. And if you're enjoying yourself, and why wouldn't you be enjoying yourself? To the left, there's a playlist of all my video essay podcasts. I have 24 and counting. In the center is a button to subscribe if you just haven't had a chance to subscribe and you would like to. And to the right is a playlist of all of my covers and parodies. So if you are wanting to check those out, feel free to do so. And if you want to support me, if you want to support the show, first and foremost, a non-financial way you can support is just through sharing this video. I can make the thumbnails, I can, make the titles, I can do the tags and do keyword research. But one of the best ways that I can grow my brand is through y'all sharing this content with other people who like this type of content, because I nor you can control the algorithm, but I can control the quality of the content I make, and y'all can, if you enjoy the content, share with people who can like it, so that way, if y'all are feeling it, it's getting put out there, whether, the algorithm favors it or not. Somebody's gonna see it because you resonated with it and you resonated with me, and now you're sharing it with other people. So if that's a non-financial way you can support the channel, and if you do want to support this channel financially, my Cash App is linked in the description of this video. I'm trying to, upgrade my production quality and just, keep growing and expanding and, doing bigger and better. So if you want to help and support that vision, feel free to do so. All those who donate to the channel will be featured in the credits of all of my videos on both of my channels. Thanks so much for watching. Love you all. Bye-bye. See you next time.